ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ॐ। Welcome to all of you. After a long gap, we are again meeting. Today we will continue Gita for All, the talks on Bhagavad Gita. We were in the 9th chapter. Please sit down. We were in the 9th chapter. So, in the 9th chapter, in the 5th verse, Sri Krishna says, Nacha matsani bhutani pashyame yogamaishwaram bhuta brinnacha bhutasto mamatma bhuta bhavanaha. The Anvaya is Cha Bhutani, beings, Na, not, Matsthani, dwelling in me, Me, my, Aishwaram, divine, Yogam, yoga, Pashya, behold, Mama, my, Atma, self, Bhuta Brit, supporting the beings, Cha, and Bhuta Bhavanaha, bringing forth the beings, Na, Bhutastaha, not dwelling in the beings. So, Sri Krishna is telling how he is pervading the entire world. In the previous verse, he said, Matstani sarva bhutani nachaham teshu avastitah. Nacha aham teshu avastitah. That is, all beings exist in me, but I do not dwell in them. That means, if we have to use the analogy of set theory, then I am the superset. The entire universe is my subset, but I am the superset. It's not that the entire universe is equivalent to me. Sri Ramakrishna says, God is with form, without form, and even something other than that. So, this even something other than that, we cannot understand what it is. The idea is God is indescribable. It's not possible. Sri Ramakrishna says in Bengali, Tar iti tana jayana. It's not possible to delineate God or to restrict God within a particular definition. It's impossible to do that. So, tar iti tana jabena. You cannot say that God is this. You cannot say God is he, though most scriptures, unfortunately, because of the patriarchal nature of our language, do say. Most scriptures say God, he. All translations are wrong in that sense because we don't know whether God is a male or a female or a transgender. We don't know that. So, God, we cannot fix God within a particular gender. We cannot also fix God, limit God within a particular form. We cannot limit God between living or non-living. So it's very difficult to tell what God is or who God is. So that is what is being told. Though the entire universe dwells in me, I do not dwell in them means I am not something which is secondary or subsidiary, or I am not a subset of the universe. Continuing that same theme, here in the 5th verse, Sri Krishna says, Nacha cha bhutani namatsani. Living beings do not exist in me. That is in reality. So, one way to understand this is this whole universe of various names and forms do not exist in reality. They have no real existence because they are ephemeral, they are temporary. So, they don't actually exist. They don't exist. So, what we see is a kaleidoscopic view of Maya. That is why he says, Pashyame me Aishwaram Yogam Pashya. Please see my divine yoga. That means what? This is Maya. Elsewhere, Sri Krishna says, Mama Maya Duratyaya. My Maya, my illusion created by me is very difficult to transcend. Duratyaya means to atya, to transcend it, it is duh, it is very difficult. Duratyaya. Here he says the same thing. What you see, this universe, these birds, these trees, etc., this is what? This is nothing but my Aishwaram Yogam, my divine yoga. Pashya, see that. Mama Atma Bhuta Brit cha Bhuta Bhavana hai, na Bhutastha hai. And what am I? My yoga, this divine yoga, what does it do? It brings Bhuta Brit, it brings into being Bhuta Bhavana hai. Bhavana hai, Bhava means existence. Bhavana hai, to bring into existence. So it brings into existence living beings. Bhuta Bhavana hai. Also, Bhuta Brit. Brit means support. So it supports living beings. Bhuta Brit. Bhuta Bhavana hai. It brings into existence living beings, it supports, but it does not become the dwelling place, or it does not dwell in the living beings. So it is the support of living beings, it is the birth, source of living beings, but it is definitely not the place where living beings, means it does not reside in living beings. That means the same idea. It is not subservient to the living beings, because the universe is a wrong reading of God. What is the universe? The universe is a misreading of God. There is Brahman, but because of ignorance, we mistake it to be the universe. Then, so we have to understand. So because of the self being unattached, because the self does not depend on anything, the self does not dwell in living beings. So one may ask the question, if the self does not dwell in living beings, then what is the true nature of living beings? The true nature of living beings is self, but not as living beings, not as having those names and forms. Those names and forms are wrong. They are false perceptions. They are not true. Mithya. They are false. Then in the sixth verse, Sri Krishna says, Yatha kasha sthito nityam vayu sarvatrago mahan tatha sarvani bhutani matsthani tyupadharaya. So, all the living beings, they dwell in me, but I do not dwell in the living beings. How he is explaining? Yatha, just like Vayuhu, wind, Nityam, always, Sarvatragaha, moving everywhere, Mahan, mighty, Yatha, just as Akasha Sthitaha, resting or dwelling in the Akasha, means space. Tatha, similarly, Sarvani Bhutani, all living beings, Matsthani, dwell in me. Iti, thus Upadharaya. Upadharaya means know. Dharaya is to hold. So please hold it in your brain. That is the idea. So, as the mighty wind, Yatha Akasha Sthitao Nityam. So, Yatha Vayuhu Sarvatrago Mahan. This mighty Mahan Vayuhu. What does it do? It is Sarvatragaha. Means it is moving everywhere. It is moving everywhere. Similarly, Akasha Sthita, and also it always is in the space. You cannot say that a particular space is devoid of wind. You cannot say that wind is absent in a particular space, because wind is present everywhere. And so, Upadharaya, know. What should you know? You should know Sarvani Bhutani Matsthani. That I rest, in me all living beings rest. Because there is no place where I am not there. So in me all living beings rest, because there is no place where I am not there. Just as, because wind moves everywhere, and everywhere means all space. So that is why we have to say that wind is there, wherever space is there, wind is there. Why? Now you may say, Suppose we talk about vacuum. What if there is vacuum? There is no wind there. So that is why we say Udaharana Ekadeshiya. You have to take only one aspect of the example, of the illustration. So just like wind in the regular atmosphere is there in all places of the space, similarly I am there in all beings, because there is no place where I am not there. So if living beings are there, then there also I am there. Okay, so I hope it is not, this does not confuse you and put you to sleep or something like that. Because, yeah. So the idea is wind is there everywhere. Wherever space is there, wind is there. Okay. And so we have to say that wind is there everywhere. Similarly, I am there everywhere. I means God. I am there everywhere. And so wherever living beings are there, there also I am there. So that is why I am there in all living beings. Though living beings don't have any contact with me. And contact with me means they don't affect me. They don't influence me. सर्वभूतानि कौन्तेय प्रकृतिं यान्ति मामिकां कल्पक्षये पुनस्तानि कल्पादौ विसृजाम्यहम्. Now Sri Krishna talks about, in the 7th verse of the 9th chapter, he talks about a different aeon, how different kalpa means aeon, era we can say, not era in the sense of a small era, but an era of millions and millions of years. So he says, Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, Sarva Bhutani, all living beings, Kalpakshaye. Shaya here means at the end. Kalpakshaye, at the end of a kalpa, all living beings, Mamikam Prakritim Yanti. They go back to my Prakriti. Prakriti means the universe which is comprising three gunas, sattva, raja and tamaguna. So it goes back to Prakriti. All beings go back to my Prakriti. And then what happens? That is the end of a kalpa. Then kalpadau, punaha, again, at the beginning of the next kalpa, tani, aham visrajami, I send them forth. Aham, I visrajami, I send them forth. That means it's again manifested. The idea is this whole universe with all its living beings is dissolved. There is dissolution, involution we can say. It goes back to its seed, that is Prakriti. Then after that yuga is over, it goes back into that seed. Then again it comes out. In the next yuga or next kalpa, it comes out, evolution. So it's a cyclical process. Evolution, involution. Evolution, involution. Like that. See, a banyan tree, it is produced by a very small seed. The seed of a banyan tree is very small, very small. And the huge banyan tree is produced from that one seed. But then that entire seed is contained in that banyan tree. So there is this process of evolution and there is this process of involution. So that is what Sri Krishna says. What does he mean? You see, I am not attached to all these universes, or I am not attached to these living beings. They evolve from me and they involve into me. So I am not attached. Then he says, Prakriti. Prakriti means what? Prakriti is the ignorant realm of God. The moment you perceive name and form, it is born out of ignorance. So Prakriti is the realm of God which is seen through the eyes of ignorance. So here he says in the 8th verse, Prakritim swam avashtabhya visrajami punah punah bhutagramam imam krishnam avasham prakriter vashat. Swam prakritim, my own prakriti, avashtabhya, having animated, having activated, prakritehe vashat, because of the influence of Prakriti. Prakritehe of Prakriti, Vashat influence. Imam Krishnam, all this entire whole, Krishna means whole. Imam, this entire, Avasham, helpless, Bhuta Gramam. Bhuta Gramam means group. Bhuta means not ghost. Bhuta means living beings. Puna puna, again and again, visrajami, I send forth. So, my prakriti, I activate. I activate my prakriti. So, if you have to activate your mobile phone, you need charge. And the more your battery, not your battery, but your mobile phone's battery, the more charge it can hold. So, that is why people go and they ask. Nobody nowadays buys mobile phone finding out whether I can make call. See, in the good old days, people used to buy, can it do call? How much call? Now nobody thinks of those things. People buy mobile phone, seeing the camera, main thing. Then second thing is battery. How much of mAh? That means how much of battery power can it hold? So 6000 mAh, oh wonderful phone, buy that. 3000 not so good, battery will drain because person uses phone for everything other than calling. Calling also sometimes they do. So, animating my Prakriti. Only because Brahman is there, this world is there. So, who gives real energy to Prakriti? It is God. Sri Ramakrishna gives this a wonderful example as his manner. Wonderful example. He says there is this, in Bengali it is called aloo potal. Aloo means potato, potal one vegetable which is available in India. So this aloo potal, in Hindi it is called parval. So aloo potal is boiled. Aloo potal is boiled. When aloo potal is boiled, potato and vegetables are boiled, they start jumping. How are they jumping? They are jumping because of the heat which has come below. Because of the fire, they are jumping. But if somebody thinks that aloo, potato, and the other vegetables are jumping because of their some action, they would be wrong. They are jumping because of the fire, because of the heat. So, similarly, I animate Prakritim. Swam, my own Prakritim, I animate. Means I give activity, I give energy to that Prakriti. How do I give energy? Because of me, this Prakriti gets energy. Sri Ramakrishna tells in another way, he says that zeros get their value if you put one in front of the zeros, then 0 gets value. You can also put 9, the value will be more. But anyway, so whatever value you want, you put 1 or 9 before the zeros. Any one number you put, then the zeros get value. Similarly, this entire universe gets its value from God. It is God who is giving value to the universe. And so he says, Sri Krishna says, this whole universe. And what kind of universe? Avasham. It's helpless. It's helpless. Swamiji says a person who has got good samskaras will do good things, cannot help it. A person who has got evil samskaras, evil tendencies, will do bad things, cannot help it. But this person is thinking, oh, I helped so many people. No. In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, Prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. Your tendencies are directing you. Prakritim yanti bhutani. All the living beings are being directed by being controlled by nature, Prakriti, their own nature. Nigraha kim karishyati. What can any kind of control do? You cannot control. So hearing this, I am sure all of you would think, wow, this is what. So we are not responsible for what we are doing. It is the Prakriti or nature is responsible. So anyway, let us enjoy life. And what is the point of doing meditation and controlling mind, etc.? That would be a very foolish thing to think, because this is how the tendencies are created and this is how the mind is propelled towards good or bad. But as he tells Arjuna, abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. It is possible to control the mind through practice and vairagya, dispassion. So dispassion and practice. You can unattachment and practice. You can control the mind. That we need to remember. The idea is tendencies govern living beings. It's the tendencies which are controlling living beings, and they are helpless. They are helplessly getting controlled. Multitude. So you see, so much of Vedanta one can speak, but when one feels the pangs of hunger, all Vedanta goes to the dustbin, municipality dustbin. So, corporation dustbin or the city dustbin. So, Bhuta Gramam Punaha Punaha Visrajami. I again and again create this Bhuta Gramam, this group of living beings. There's an interesting analogy we can think. Every day we go into deep sleep. Every day we go into deep sleep. In the deep sleep, there is no Sukshma Sharira. That is Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. They don't exist. There is no control or there is no gross body, no subtle body. But there is Ajnana. And every day we come back to our body. So you see, we actually go very near to our true nature. Every day we say, I had wonderful sleep. That is because I am going to a state where the covering of ignorance is the least. But then again we come back to the body. So involution and evolution is something like that. It's like going to deep sleep, again coming to waking state. Going to deep sleep, again coming to waking state. One of the biggest realizations of Swami Vivekananda was to understand that the microcosm and macrocosm are identical. He sat under this tree in the place Kakri Ghat in the Himalayas, in the Kumaon region of Himalayas, near the place called Almora. He sat there under a tree and he got this realization. He got the realization that microcosm and macrocosm are same. Means what is there inside me and what is there in the whole universe is same. So that is what? Every day in my life there is evolution in involution. Suppose you take one waking period as kalpa, then I go into swapna, I go into subtle body, and I go into Sukshma Sharira. Then I go into Karna Sharira, causal body. That is, I go into deep sleep, Sushupti. Then again from Sushupti I am coming. So again I am saying, oh, this is my body, this is my mind, etc. Again into ignorance, again going near the true nature, again coming out of true nature into ignorance. This process goes on and on and on. It will go on till I have this idea that I am the doer, I am the enjoyer. Bhoktritva, kartritva. As long as I have these two ideas, these things will keep on happening. And the moment I give up these ideas, I will become mukta, jivan mukta. Then in the 9th verse, Sri Krishna says, Nacha mam tani karmani nibadnanti dhananjaya udasina vadasinam asaktam teshu karmasu. So, Dhananjaya means one who has conquered wealth. Dhananjaya, that is one of the names of Arjuna. Tani karmani. Tani karmani, all these karmas means all the karmas of Sri Krishna is saying, I am creating the universe and I am dissolving the universe. So these karmas, these actions of creation and dissolution of the universe, asaktam udasinavat asinam cha. See, tani karmani na nibadhanti. These actions don't bind me. I don't become bound because of these actions. Whereas our condition is, if you ask someone to boil water, that's all. They are bound by that boiling of water. They will say, how have I boiled the water? See, I boiled the water. How nicely I boiled the water. Boiling water is nothing. But if you tell somebody makes a cup of coffee, say, how is my coffee? I have made. How nice. I have made the coffee. So that is why it is nice. That is because they have put proper coffee powder, etc. Anybody puts, so there is vending machine, you put that vending machine, the coffee will be wonderful. But they think like that. They will make something very small, something, but they will think, see, I made. This is Kartritva Bodha, the idea of doership. I am the doer. Sri Krishna says, though I create this entire universe again and again, and I dissolve it again and again, Srishti Sthiti Pralaya. So we have this concept of Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. One person creates, another person sustains, another person destroys. I think it is very easy to create and destroy. That is why everywhere Avatara only Vishnu is taking, Shiva is not taking. Of course, there is nothing like that. Everything, all the Trinities are Trinity. Each one of the Trinity is a different reading of God. But you see, it is very difficult to maintain something. That is why Vishnu had to take 10 avatars. 10th one is still coming. I think it will come very soon, going by what is happening. So anyway, so he says, Tani karmani na nibadnanti. They don't bind me. Why? Because teshu karmasu asaktam. I am unattached in those actions. I am unattached. Udasinavat. And I am indifferent, neutral. Asinam. I sit neutral. And that is why nothing affects me. Nothing affects me. So the idea of kartrutva, that is I have done, and the idea of bhoktrutva, that is I will enjoy the results of what I have done, this does not affect me, and so I am always free. That is what human beings, normal living beings have to do. We have to get free of the ideas of doership and enjoyership. Doership and enjoyership. I am not doing anything. I am not enjoying anything. This famous story, which I have recounted many times earlier, of Vyasa Bhagavan going to gopis to have a feast. And he is nicely eating everything, all the choicest delicacies. Then when he goes near Yamuna to cross Yamuna, Yamuna is flooding. It's in high tide. And so Vyasa Bhagavan says, O Yamuna, if I have not eaten anything, please give way. And immediately, promptly, Yamuna gives way. But then all the gopis are almost in heart attack. They say, hey, how? We fed you so much and you ate so much. And now how Yamuna is telling? You are telling, give way if I have not eaten anything, and Yamuna is also giving way. Then Vyasa Bhagavan says that yes, this body took the food, but I don't have any sense of doership. I don't have this idea that I have done, and that is why I don't get the results of my action. Now if you go to a restaurant and eat nicely and say I have not taken the food, then they have various methods to get money from you. So this cannot be applied. But if you really are a Brahmagyani, if you are a knower of Brahman, then there also it will work. But it is not good. Even if you are a knower of Brahman, it is always better to give bill to a restaurant owner. The idea is that though I create this universe, in another place, Sri Krishna says, see, I don't need to do any work. There is no necessity. I don't need to do any work, but I do. I don't sit idle for even a second. So that is why you are a Kshatriya, you are supposed to do that work, so please do. That is what he is telling to Arjuna. So the idea is that one should not have the ideas of doership, or one should not have the idea of enjoyership. The next shloka we will see the next class. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.